How's it going, crypto community? So I'm going to do a little bit different of a video. For once, I'm going to be a little bit selfish, right? I'm going to plug some of my own content. And this is just because, aside from cryptocurrency, I view myself as sort of a philosopher of sorts, right? I don't like to cling too tightly to any one belief, and so I allow myself to flow freely between belief sets as I look for safe harbors, areas that seem to have some degree of consistency in the world. And so what I'm going to share is my Coil page, and before you go to my Coil page and see any of my articles, please understand that these are just musings, and you'll notice if you look through all of them that there's not a great degree of consistency across them, though there is obviously a lot of overlapping themes, but that's just because those are themes that I personally see, right? So, I guess the best way to say it is what my friend here on the screen says: meaning is what you make it. So, before this YouTube, I describe myself as a faceless observer, simply here to share my observations. Observations humanity at large will certainly reject, because that's how I felt before finding nearly 200 people out on YouTube that actually enjoy my content. And so this is my 200 viewer shout out. I was gonna wait, but honestly I just feel so inspired by the fact that I'm about to hit 200 viewers. I'm not sure what we're at right here. So let's see. I'm at 97, so I'm going to delay this until tomorrow evening, and that was a baby's belly, not anything else, just so you know. But I'm going to delay this until tomorrow evening, and then I'll share it with you. And I hope you enjoy this little insight to my psyche, and hopefully it doesn't scare a lot of you off, but, maybe. Because most of you are only here for crypto, so I understand if you don't appreciate this outreach, but, I just want to connect with you, my community members, because literally without you, I will not go anywhere. It is my goal to ensure that I can not just entertain you, but retain your attention as somebody that's building trust with me, a content creator, right? So that's why I try so hard to be transparent, and I'm constantly asking for criticism. It's not me trying to deflect, it's me literally saying, hey, I want you to keep me honest. Just like understand that I am human. If whatever degree of capacity you see in me, it is limited, and I try to make that clear as often as I can. I know that I release TA videos where, or at least have released TA videos where I've not made sure to make it clear that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm trying to make sure that I'm going to be on top of that more with my price videos, but this is kind of a learning process for me. I'm kind of just going with it as it comes, and I'm doing this like ad-lib. Everybody knows it's listened so far that I'm not editing my videos. These are just like straight from the cuff. I don't even have, sometimes I take notes of what I want to talk about that I'll glance at, like a SparkNote thing, but I don't do a script or anything like that. I'm just coming out here talking to you, sharing my views. Same when I'm listening to an interview, it's not, I might listen to one through sometimes, and it's usually because something happens that just like totally derails the video in real life. I have a pretty chaotic home life right now, but hopefully I can get some, I can get that corrected here hopefully soon. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to jump into the article and topic that I actually want to share with you, because it's just fun philosophy, but I feel that it's also important for you to understand that this is sort of the root of my moral philosophies to some degree, and we'll talk about that afterwards. So, what is life? This is somewhat poetic, but death is not just the antithesis to life. It's the observation of an illusion. The illusion of death's imminence. You will never escape its embrace. Cut your wrists and hang your head. In the end, you'll rise and wake again. Death begets life, and vice versa. Physically observed through consumption, spiritually observed through death, and cognitively observed through birth. Thus, death is the real illusion, an illusion of our own conjuration, the belief that our self-manifestations are finite, despite their existence within infinite infinities. The curse of knowing is knowing your curse, and knowledge of death is knowledge of life. So, when I wrote this, I was dealing with a bit of a scare as far as my health, but that's since passed, and it was literally just a scare, nothing at all. But my mentality over the last year, where I have subjected myself to a very harsh lifestyle, intentionally so, ultimately for the purpose of being able to fill my bags during the bear market, as I hope to continue doing here in the near few months, but also because I wanted to escape the person I felt I was becoming and find a new beginning that hopefully had a better outcome than what I saw coming before me. So I left an area that ultimately pulled me down into the pits of hell and escaped to the place that I viewed as paradise, just to realize that, paradise is what you make it. And so what I wanted to extrapolate on or expand upon from this is my moral philosophy, which I feel as a content creator, it is up to me to express to you, my viewer, my belief of eternity, of life and death, and everything in between, as good Charlotte said, right? So, I don't know why that popped in my head that that's their line, but, so, back on topic, my belief is this, that life is heaven, and it is hell, and it is purgatory. Now, again, I'm not pushing my beliefs on you. This is my personal belief structure that I operate under, right? So, it's these three things, and the idea is that depending upon your perspective that you choose to embrace of the world, that determines where you are in that world, right? And so when it comes to if you're looking for the bad in the world, right? Like you're not looking for the bad, but you just think that most of the world is bad. You just think it's full of a bunch of cheats and scammers and horrible people that are just out to ruin you, just for their own personal gain. And there are a lot of people like that, but if you're focused on the world being full of that, you're gonna catch them, you're gonna see them more likely because you're thinking about them. So when you see them, you're like, see, there's one, they mentioned it in the news, I knew it. And so it's confirmation bias, right? You're expecting the world to show you something, and the world's a crazy place. It'll show you almost anything you look for. So if you look for something bad, you'll find something bad. But if you look for something good, you'll find so many good things. So many good things. Now, that's why I'm under the belief system that life is what you make it, and you can make it heavenly, you can make it hellish, or you can live in purgatory, somewhere in between. The choice is yours, and the choice is mine. And if you're ever wondering where God is, He's just behind your eyes, right? I didn't mean for that to be as poetic as it just came out. It just kind of came out. But, that wasn't, that was kind of cool. I like that. Maybe I should write that down. Anyways, that's just the position I come from. So when it comes to how I am working tirelessly to train myself to become the person that I ultimately believe is the best version of myself that I can be, right? And I have these ideals that are probably unachievable, but I still desire to progress towards them, and it is based upon the notion that what my soul reflects, what I embrace as part of my identity, as part of my capacity, what I'm willing to do. You know, willingness is a choice, right? So like, there's the willingness to want to commit violence against somebody who has committed harm to someone you love, right? Because that's vengeance. Well, I realize that that's a self-destructive emotion, and so every time I feel those things, I do my very best to, as quickly as possible, identify it and start distancing myself from it. And it was really hard at first, but what I did at first is I'd be like, oh, man, you're an idiot. Why are you thinking that? You're not going to be any better than him if you do that, right? Like, I just, whenever I start the cooldown, I just remind myself that, that's just sinking to their level, ultimately. That one little line, I'm just sinking to their level. So, you have to, my view is that the way I display myself is going to determine the kind of people that I attract to myself, and I feel that by and large that's worked, with the way I am displaying myself for you, my viewers. But it's not just a display, just so that we're clear, this is the person that I want to be, that I am displaying outwardly, and the amount of amazing reception that I'm getting means to me that I'm doing something right, and your constant approval of me from so many people. I can't even keep track of all of your names now, guys. Like I got the original few people down, but there's so many people out there now. It's like, it's really hard to keep track of everybody now. It's kind of crazy to me. It's like, holy crap, this many people. I can't even like keep track of who all is who now. It's like, oh my gosh, I only have, there's only 200 of you, but like, I want to like, be like, hey guys, no matter how big I get, like, I'm going to do my very best to keep on like the conversations. Like, if you're asking me questions, I'm going to try my very best to engage with you, even if I feel that there might be a potential that you're trolling, right? If I feel that you're just like misinformed, I'll try and engage with you even. So like, don't think I'm gonna come at you as somebody like trying to be aggressive with you. If you engage with me in my comments, I'm absolutely going to reach out with you and try and like see if we can figure out what our misunderstanding is, or if it's just me being wrong. I'm perfectly open to admitting when I'm wrong, because if I'm not going to admit when I'm wrong, then obviously that's going to make people be like, oh yeah, this guy's an idiot, he's a flake, he's not real. And it's like, I want to be the most real person possible, especially in this space where deception seems to be the name of the game, especially with some of the articles that I've already addressed in my streams. Holy crap, is there some fake stuff out here? And I often worry that I'm being biased to some way or another. That's why I'm constantly asking for people to be like, did I say anything wrong? Check me on it, do your research, make sure that I'm being honest, and call me out if I'm not, because I don't want to mislead anybody. And if somebody finds evidence that I've made some kind of like really bad call, then I will absolutely like address it as quickly as possible. And most likely what that will result in is me pulling the video that I made the false claim in and redoing it and removing that claim and putting in whatever the appropriate knowledge is there, because ultimately the idea is to remove false knowledge from my content so that we as a community can trust this, right? So this is a call to action, essentially, to you, my initial 200 Martians, to help me colonize this ecosystem that is the cryptocurrency community, and let us dominate through the expansion of facts and citations. If you want something cited and you've been here, you've been here from here, please help. If you see somebody asking for something and you've been around and you want to be a community leader within my community that I'm going to be building here, obviously now, apparently, awesomely. So, anybody willing to rise to those kind of positions to help, put information that is relevant to my videos in, cite me, and correct things, and we'll find some way to create a system. Maybe we'll make a Discord or something here in the future where we can come together and collectively break down all this knowledge, because there's so much in the XRP ecosystem. We need a community effort to really get at it, and that's actually why I'm really being as openly neutral in regards to everything going on in the community right now as possible, because I really want to be able to connect with all the content creators to some degree, because I believe everybody's heart's ultimately in the right place. Some people may be led astray at certain times, but I think it's just, it's the nature of the beast, especially as many of us are rising up from nothing. The thirst for power can become real. It's something that I'm terrified of having to face, and I've already had community members call me out on certain content that I've created being too controversial and clickbaity. So I've made a conscious effort to, steer clear of that kind of content, because you've asked me not to, and so I'm honoring my community's wishes, even though initially the person who asked me, I was rather standoffish, but I thought about it. I thought about how I responded, and I realized that I was wrong. And so that's why I've decided that I'm going to honor what I said in that video, and I'm not touching anything of that nature for unless something really bad or big comes of it, So, anyways, this has been quite the long video. If you've actually just listened to this rambling of me sharing my, the Martian's morals, or whatever, maybe the Martian's philosophy. That's what I'll name this, the Martian's philosophy. If you've enjoyed this, then by all means, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, ring that bell, especially if you're listening to this far through this video and you haven't already. What are you doing? This is a shout out video to the initial 200. I think you might be a little bit too late, but maybe I'm going to include you in the next one. And I have some cool plans in mind for new subscriber milestones, so look forward to some announcements in hopefully the next week or so as to what I'll be doing in that regards. Also, anybody out there from my initial community, if you would really like to help me out more than anything, this is the only video that I'm going to actively request. These subscriber videos are the only time I will actively request any of you. If you really appreciate my content, please, any donations you make to my Tipbot really help. I really am trying to transition into this platform as rapidly as I can. That's why I'm creating as much content as I can, and doing my very best to remain as neutral as possible to build credibility with you, my viewers, because I know that as long as I'm able to maintain that, then I will be able to rapidly grow, because I know that especially in today's society, truth is going to be a breath of fresh air. It doesn't matter what somebody's interest is, just somebody that's out there. Hopefully, what I'm doing is going to be good. Hopefully it's going somewhere, right? Hopefully. It seems to be going somewhere. I'm so excited that I'm making this video for 200 people after 2 weeks. What? Thank you so much. And again, the QR code in my video is just for XRP. If you are interested in donating any other way. I'm working on a Patreon. I will probably have it in this if I can get it figured out, all set up. But I'll have it in the comments of this, along with the actual donation code. If you aren't able to scan the barcode, I'll put my my public key out for you to donate to my wallet. And if anybody that's tipping me, I'm going to absolutely give you a shout out, because obviously those are the people who I am going to make an active effort to really focus on ensuring that I'm keeping you happy, but at the same time, I will make it clear that anybody that thinks that they can donate to me for the intention of gaining favor to push something outside of the facts, in regards to this ecosystem, or push something that I think could be in any way detrimental to the ecosystem that I'm creating here, then obviously that's not going to happen. But if ultimately I just want to be able to, give the proper respects to anybody who is out there that is actually going to assist me in, keeping this kind of a medium of information sharing available to you out there in the XRP Martian community, right? So, as always, it has been Jade Martian, and I'll see you on Mars.